Your insurance claim was denied. But that letter may not be the end of the story. Sometimes a denial comes down to missing information. Sometimes the insurer and policyholder disagree about what caused the damage. Sometimes the wrong details were entered into the claim. And sometimes the real disagreement is over what the policy actually says. So what should you do next? Do you call the adjuster and argue, send an angry email, hire someone immediately, or simply accept the decision and pay the loss yourself? None of those should automatically be your first move. If you want to challenge an insurance denial effectively, you need something much more useful than frustration. You need the denial reason, the policy, a timeline, evidence, and a written record. In this video, we're walking through a step-by-step process for reviewing a denied insurance claim, building a stronger case, and deciding when it may be time to escalate the dispute. And stay with me until the evidence section, because one missing document can sometimes matter more than 10 angry phone calls. Before we begin, this video provides general educational information only. Insurance policies, claims procedures, complaint rights, deadlines, and state laws vary. This is not legal, financial, or individualized insurance advice. Always review your own policy and seek appropriate professional guidance for your situation. So, your denial letter arrives. What's the first thing you should do? Not call the insurer and start arguing. Read the denial. Slowly. You need to understand exactly what the insurance company says went wrong. Look for the specific reason. Did they say the event wasn't covered? Did they cite an exclusion? Did they say the damage resulted from wear and tear? Was the claim reported too late? Did they say there wasn't enough evidence? Are they disputing the amount of the loss rather than denying coverage completely? Or are they saying a policy condition wasn't satisfied? Those are very different disputes. And if you don't understand what the insurer is actually denying, you can't build an effective response. If the explanation is vague, ask for clarification. If you haven't received a written denial, request one. You want to know the precise reason for the decision and, where applicable, the policy language the company is relying on. Because your next step is comparing the denial with the actual policy. Pull out your policy documents, not the advertisement, not the quote you received before buying it, not what someone told you insurance usually covers. Your policy. Start with your declarations page. That usually gives you a summary of your coverages, limits, deductibles, insured property, and endorsements. Then find the section of the policy relevant to the loss. If the insurer says an exclusion applies, find that exclusion. If the insurer says you failed to meet a policy condition, find that condition. If they say the type of damage isn't covered, find the coverage provision they're comparing it against. Now read the surrounding language too. Don't pull one sentence out of context. Definitions elsewhere in the policy can affect what a word means. Endorsements may modify the original policy wording, and exclusions sometimes have exceptions. You're not trying to become an insurance attorney overnight. You're simply trying to answer one question. Does the written explanation for the denial match what the policy actually says? Now create a claim timeline. This is one of the simplest things you can do, and it's surprisingly useful. Write down when the event happened, when you discovered the damage, when you reported the claim, when the adjuster contacted you, when inspections occurred, when you submitted photographs or documents, when estimates were provided, when the insurer requested additional information, and when the denial was issued. Keep the timeline factual. For example, March 5th, windstorm occurred. March 6th, roof leak discovered. March 6th, claim reported. March 8th, emergency temporary repair completed. March 10th, adjuster inspection. March 12th, contractor estimate submitted. March 20th, insurer requested additional photographs. March 21st, photographs submitted. April 2nd, denial received. That is much more useful than writing, "The insurance company took forever and treated me unfairly." Facts are easier to evaluate. And that brings us to the most important part of challenging a denial. Evidence. Your goal is not to send the insurer as much paperwork as possible. Your goal is to send the evidence that directly addresses the reason for the denial. Imagine the insurer says your roof damage resulted from long-term deterioration rather than the recent windstorm. What evidence could matter? Photographs showing the roof's condition before the storm, weather records, a contractor's inspection, maintenance records, photographs taken immediately after the event, a written repair estimate describing the observed damage, or another qualified professional's assessment of the cause. Now imagine a theft claim is denied because the insurer questions whether you owned the property. Your evidence may look completely different. Receipts, order confirmations, bank or credit card statements, photographs showing the item inside your home, serial numbers, warranty registrations, emails, product packaging, or previous photographs and videos. The strongest evidence depends on the reason for the denial. That's why step 1 matters so much. You are not trying to prove everything. You are trying to prove the specific fact the insurer disputes. Let's take another example. Suppose your auto claim is denied or reduced because the insurer believes some of the vehicle damage existed before the accident. You might gather photographs of the car from before the collision, service records, inspection reports, recent dealership photographs, dashcam footage, accident scene photographs, the repair shop's assessment, or documentation showing that the disputed area had previously been undamaged. Again, the point is not volume, it's relevance. Now check the insurer's facts. Insurance companies handle enormous amounts of information. That means details matter. Is the date of loss correct? Is the property address correct? Is the vehicle identification information correct? Did they misunderstand how the event occurred? Did they receive every document you submitted? Is the contractor's estimate actually in the claim file? Did the adjuster base the decision on a statement you never made? Was a photograph misidentified? Did they describe prior damage that you believe didn't exist? If you find a factual error, write it down clearly. Don't bury it in a 3-page emotional email. Say exactly what is wrong. For example, the denial states that the water entered the home through long-term seepage. The attached plumber's report states that the loss resulted from a sudden rupture of the supply line on March 5th. Please review the attached report and reconsider the claim based on this information. That is specific. It identifies the disagreement, it references evidence, and it gives the insurer something concrete to review. Now organize everything before you send your response. Create one folder for the claim. Keep the denial letter, the complete policy, photographs, videos, estimates, receipts, inspection reports, relevant emails, letters, and notes from phone conversations. For phone calls, record the date, approximate time, name of the person you spoke with, and what was discussed. You don't need to secretly record conversations. A written call log is already useful. After an important phone call, consider sending a short follow-up email. Something like, "Thank you for speaking with me today. As discussed, I am submitting the additional photographs and repair report requested for review." That creates a time-stamped written record. Now you're ready to write your challenge. Different insurers and policies may use different terms. It could be called a reconsideration request, an appeal, a review, a dispute, or simply a request for the adjuster to reconsider the decision. Follow the instructions in your denial letter and policy when they provide a specific process. Your written response should be calm and structured. Start with your claim number and the date of loss. State that you're requesting review of the denial. Then identify the exact reason you disagree. Reference the relevant policy language if appropriate. Explain the facts. List the evidence you're providing, and clearly state what you're asking the insurer to do. For example, I am requesting reconsideration of the denial based on the attached plumber's report and photographs taken immediately after the loss. The denial states that the damage resulted from long-term seepage. The plumber's report identifies a sudden supply line rupture. Please review this additional information and provide a written response explaining whether the coverage decision changes. Notice what that message doesn't contain. Threats, insults, accusations, a 10-paragraph story about how long you've been a customer. Those things may express how you feel, but they don't necessarily address the coverage decision. Your argument should revolve around the policy and the evidence. Now here's something else to remember. A denied claim and a low settlement are not always the same problem. Sometimes the insurer agrees that the loss is covered, but disputes how much the damage is worth. Maybe the repair estimate is lower than your contractor's estimate. Maybe the insurer depreciated property. Maybe it disputes labor rates. Maybe your vehicle valuation is lower than expected. Those are valuation disputes, not necessarily coverage denials. The evidence you need may therefore be different. For a valuation dispute, comparable estimates, photographs, receipts, condition records, item specifications, or professional assessments may matter more than arguing over an exclusion. Always identify what you're actually disputing: coverage, cause of loss, amount, deductible, depreciation, a policy limit. Once you know the category, your response becomes much more focused. Now suppose you've submitted your evidence and the insurer still refuses to change the decision. What then? First, ask whether another internal review level exists. Some companies may have escalation or reconsideration procedures. Your denial notice or policy may explain what options are available and whether any deadlines apply. Pay close attention to those deadlines. Don't assume you can wait indefinitely. And keep copies of everything you submit. If you've tried to resolve the issue directly with the insurer and still believe the claim is being handled improperly, you can also look at your State Department of Insurance or insurance regulator. Insurance regulation in the United States is primarily state-based, so the exact complaint process varies depending on where you live. State insurance departments can receive consumer complaints about issues such as claim delays, denials, failure to honor policy terms, communication problems, or possible violations of state insurance rules. When filing a complaint, stay organized. Provide your policy information, claim number, denial letter, timeline, important correspondence, supporting evidence, and a concise explanation of what you believe went wrong. Stick to facts and dates. Explain the outcome you're seeking. Remember, filing a complaint does not guarantee that the state regulator will force the insurer to pay your claim. A regulator's role is not simply to choose the policyholder's side, but the department may review whether the insurer followed the policy and applicable insurance rules, require an explanation from the company, and take action within its authority when appropriate. And depending on how much money is involved or how complex the dispute becomes, there may be situations where getting professional help makes sense. That could include an experienced insurance professional, public adjuster where permitted and appropriate, or an attorney who handles insurance matters. But don't hire someone simply because they promise to get you a huge settlement. Understand their role, verify licensing where applicable, understand the fees, and be extremely cautious about anyone guaranteeing a specific outcome. Now let's talk about mistakes that can weaken your own challenge. First, don't alter or manufacture evidence. Ever. Don't edit photographs to make damage look worse. Don't create receipts. Don't change dates. Don't exaggerate what was lost. A legitimate disagreement over coverage can become a much more serious problem if false information enters the claim. Second, don't throw away damaged property before the insurer has had a reasonable opportunity to inspect it, unless safety or emergency circumstances require otherwise. Document everything first. Third, don't make major permanent repairs without understanding what documentation or inspection the insurer requires. Emergency mitigation is different from completely rebuilding before the claim can be evaluated. Fourth, don't assume social media comments are a substitute for your policy. Someone online may say, "My insurance company paid for exactly the same thing." But you don't know whether that person had the same insurer, same policy, same endorsement, same state, same deductible, same cause of loss, or even the same facts. Your claim should be evaluated against your contract and your circumstances. And finally, don't give up simply because the first conversation didn't solve the problem. Be persistent, but be organized. There is a major difference between repeatedly calling to complain and repeatedly providing relevant evidence through the proper process. So let's recap. Your insurance claim was denied. Step 1. Get the reason for the denial in writing. Step 2. Compare that reason with your actual policy. Step 3. Create a timeline of the claim. Step 4. Gather evidence that directly addresses the insurer's reason. Step 5. Check the insurer's facts for errors or missing information. Step 6. Submit a clear written request for reconsideration or appeal using the process available to you. Step 7. Keep detailed records of every important interaction. And if you still can't resolve the dispute, investigate the complaint or escalation options available through your state insurance regulator and consider professional help when the amount or complexity justifies it. A denial letter can feel final, but what matters is why the claim was denied, what the policy says, and what evidence exists. Sometimes the decision won't change. The policy simply may not cover the loss. But sometimes additional documentation, corrected facts, or a clearer review of the policy can change how a claim is evaluated. The strongest response isn't, "This isn't fair." It's, "Here's what the denial says, here's what the policy says, and here's the evidence supporting my position." That's how you turn frustration into a case someone can actually review. If this video helped you understand the fine print behind insurance claims, subscribe to Fine Print Files. We break down U.S. insurance, coverage, claim decisions, payouts, exclusions, and the details that can cost you money when they're misunderstood. And in the next video, we'll explain what full coverage car insurance actually means. Because having full coverage does not necessarily mean you're covered for everything.